I'm going to go ahead with the meeting beginning ritual.
起立，面向佛堂，参加三鞠躬一鞠躬，再鞠躬，三鞠躬，参加各位点传世一鞠躬，开班一鞠躬，请坐下。Please be seated.
So chapter 10 is longer, and that's why I have to utilize more space in this particular slide. So let me move the clock to one side. See it better? So chapter 10, what does it say? In holding the soul and embracing oneness, can one be steadfast without strain? In concentrating the energy and reaching relaxation, can one be like an infant? In cleaning away the worldly view, can one be without imperfections? In loving people and ruling the nation, can one be without manipulation? In the heavenly gates opening and closing, can one hold to the feminine principle? In understanding clearly all directions, can one be without intellectuality? Bearing it, rearing it, bearing without possession, achieving without arrogance, raising without domination. This is called the mystic virtue. So, the last two characters, 玄德, mystic, and virtue, respectively, this is the end goal. Mystic virtue is what we should end up when we're done with this particular chapter. The beginning of this, we have a reference to the soul. So I think, people who are curious about the Tao will suddenly become rather interested. Hey, what is the concept of the soul in the Tao? Is there a concept of the soul? So the quick answer to that we will explore in greater detail, is yes. There it is. But the concept, just like the English word soul, is not precisely defined. So in English, you can use the word soul in many different contexts. In Chinese, in Mandarin, you can also use the word soul in the same similar context. It can be metaphysical soul, or it can be the non-metaphysical frame of mind. Spirit, like, the spirits of determination, that's a mindset, that's willpower. It could be personality, so it's not precise. So I'll talk about that. I'll talk about that more as we get closer to that particular line. For now, our task is to identify the section or the structure of this particular chapter. So here's what I'm going to point out. So take a look at the highlighted characters, highlighted in red. So you've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. All these lines begin with the same character. That character is none, which means can or able to. Not only that, the other commonality of all these lines, in fact, all these lines except the first line have 4 characters each. The first line has 5 characters, every other line has 4 characters. So that's one commonality from line 2 all the way down to line 17, 4 characters. But from line 2 all the way down to line 12, the last character is exactly the same. So I mentioned just a minute ago that the first character is can or able to. And you can see that reflected in the translation. So 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, and 2. All these lines in English begin with the word can. So the last word in 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, the last word is all different. So what is the last character here? Can anyone offer a guess as to what the last character should be translated to? Not supposed to be a trick question. I'm hoping that it should be obvious. Yes, Tim, you are absolutely correct. John, you are absolutely correct. That character is a question mark. So in ancient Chinese predate the concept of punctuation. So there were no punctuation in the original writing. So what do they use instead of punctuation? Well, sometimes they use characters at the end of a sentence to indicate the end of that sentence and maybe add a question or an emphasis. So if it was for emphasis, that character will be similar to our exclamation mark. If the character shows just the end, like the character ye, then it would simply be equivalent to the period. You know, like when you say, that's it, period. You know, you're talking about, you're emphasizing that full stop. Or in this case, you can also end a sentence with this particular character that turns it into a question. There are other questions in Mandarin that indicate the question mark. So the most common in modern Mandarin today is the character ma. So, you know, it sounds like ma for mother, but it's a different character. So you can say, 你好吗? That turns it into a question. Ma is like the question mark. And 你好吗? How are you? Is a question. And that's what the question is. So here it's the same way. That character should always be translated as the question mark. And you see the question mark at the end of all those lines. So now we have the first section. The first section spans from 1 all the way down to 12. So then from 13 down to 17, well, that's actually another section. That will be section 2. Looking at section 2, I bet you can spot the same characters. Like, for instance, you may spot right away that the first 2 characters in 13 and 14 are the same. That's actually not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at 3 iterations of 2 characters that are the same. And here they are. So we have a connective transitional word that can be and or but, and then we have a character for no or not. So these 2 characters are the same from 14 down to 16. So that's a good indication that we're on the right track, that indeed this particular chapter has 2 sections. So next time we will proceed with section 1. If you look at the fact that we've got 12 lines here, you can pretty much guess that we have 6 sets, 6 pairs, 6 sets of 2 lines each, 6 pairs, and that's indeed true. So it's AB, 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 where A and B form a complete thought. So we have 6 different things here forming 12 lines, and the 6 different things can be further divided into 2 sets of 3, which means AB, 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 that's 1 subsection And then AB again is the other subsection. So I think you will see that. I'll show you a quick preview of what our discussion is going to look like. So next time, we're going to begin on this particular slide again with this particular character. That character is po. Now, in pinyin, it says po, which is, so people will say po, but that's a little bit off. It's po. And it's one of the more difficult sounds to make for non-native speakers. We'll get into this in greater detail.
Let's go ahead and do the meeting ending ritual, everybody. 起立，面向佛堂，持架生鞠躬，一鞠躬，再鞠躬，三鞠躬，持架各位顶传十一鞠躬，斜翻一鞠躬。Well done, everybody. Thank you so much.